presidente de la República Islámica de Irán, Seyed Ebrahim Raisi, han fortalecido las bases estratégicas de la Comisión Mixta de Alto Nivel Irán-Venezuela.
The subscription of cooperation for 20 years of our countries. Authorities of both countries have worked together to extend this cooperation. The scientific cooperation Iran-Venezuela has been directed to the development of technology. Many enterprises, both public and state-owned companies of both countries have worked together, and many commercial trades have been signed. Technological tractor companies from Iran have produced many implements to support livestock and agriculture in Venezuela. Thanks to the cooperation of both our nations, we have acquired our food for a minimum cost. As an industrial power, Iran incorporates its capabilities to support Venezuela. On March the 23rd, a shipment of around 2,000 cars arrived in La Guaira port. The book Joraco transported nearly 103,000 tons of oils. All of this occurs in the oil industry and to support the agricultural development. Many agreements were signed for the rehabilitation of the fertilizer plant. Many other programs for the development of seed have been also implemented. Thanks to the humanitarian aid in the face of COVID-19 pandemic, Iran has helped also Venezuela with vaccines. These are two countries together with South-South cooperation and in favor of a new multipolar world order.
We were watching live images, and we will shortly return to the image to the Miraflores Palace to continue seeing the signing of agreements after an important meeting between President Nicolás Maduro and President Ebrahim Raisi. This is an important visit of the Iranian president as he started a Latin American tour. He's going to visit Caracas first, as we are seeing, and then he will go to Cuba and then to Nicaragua. Iran and Venezuela have important relations for decades now. They have had important diplomatic relations for and this is an important moment for the cooperation between both peoples. You're seeing the images of both delegations, high-level delegations. The high-level delegation from Iran that travel here to Venezuela are signing agreements and commitment for the well-being of the people of both nations in different sectors, in different fields. We're seeing the different authorities from Iran and Venezuela carrying out this signing of memorandums of understandings to jointly work for the development of the country, of both countries, and reactivate the nation's economy in a prospect of a win-win policy of international peace and cooperation. It's an important tour that the Iranian president is carrying out to bring closer the ties of friendship between Iran and these three nations and nations from the region. bringing closer the ties of cooperation and bilateral agreements in different fields. The president of Iran arrived earlier on Monday, and he was received by the foreign minister of Venezuela, Ivan Hill, who accompanied the president first before arriving at the Miraflores Palace to the National Mausoleum to pay homage to the heroes of the South American nation. Especially visited the tomb where the remains of Libertador Simón Bolívar rest. He signed the visiting book, making official the presence of Iran and its people in that place, that important place. We continue seeing as both delegations interchange documents and sign agreements and memorandums of understanding in different fields for the cooperation of both nations and to move forward in the face of sanctions, because we must remember that these both countries are under sanctions imposed by the United States and its allies to hamper the development of their economies. And these sanctions, of course, affect mainly the people of both nations. Iran and Venezuela, with this meeting and with this signing of these documents, are deepening their bilateral cooperation and integration. This is something that has been happening since the presidency of Hugo Chavez. Iran have helped Venezuela in different fields. In the oil sector, they helped with the restoration of one of the most important refineries in the nation. During the COVID pandemic, which put in evidence the importance of solidarity and cooperation between the nations, Iran helped Venezuela by providing vaccines to help immunize the Venezuelan people to better face this pandemic. It's in different fields that Venezuela and Iran are holding cooperation at different levels, also in education, in health, in tourism, and in culture, mainly to bring both nations, both peoples, closer together to work in an international sphere of peace, which is the new world order that is being promoted by many countries, a multipolar world where not only hegemony can dictate the mandates for everyone else, but every nation in the world as an equal and with respect of international law and not meddling in internal affairs can work together and move forward and develop for the betterment of their people. It's something that is evidenced in the relations of Iran and Venezuela, which have come a long way working together side by side to face different challenges in the past and today. In October 2022, both countries managed to finalize the restoration of El Palito refinery, which is the refinery that we were referring to after the signed agreements to bring the plant located in the municipality of Puerto Cabello to full capacity. This is Ebrahim Raisi's first trip to Latin America since taking office in August 2021. He will subsequently travel to Nicaragua and Cuba, where he is expected also to meet the heads of states of both nations and reach bilateral agreements and memorandum of understandings to enhance cooperation between the Persian nation and these countries. Ebrahim Raisi is visiting today Venezuela and in the coming days Nicaragua and Cuba. These are the documents that were expected to be signed before his arrival of bilateral cooperation in different fields. The Iranian president has also scheduled to meet with local and Iranian businessmen and economic activists after this. The president of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Sayyid Ebrahim Raisi, arrived on Monday in the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, where he held a working meeting with his Venezuelan counterpart, Nicolás Maduro. He was received first at the Simón Bolívar International Airport by the foreign minister, and then before arriving here to the Miraflores Palace, the seat of the government of Venezuela, he first paid tribute to the heroes of the nation. Alongside the president came also the Iranian First Lady, Jamila al-Mohalloda. She was received with honors by the sectorial vice president, and together with the first female combatant, they meet with important figures, female figures of different fields. We are waiting for the statements of both presidents after their important meeting, as they continue to sign documents, as we are seeing in the images which are coming live from the Miraflores Palace in Caracas. As we were saying, this is the first stop of President Ibrahim Rais's Latin American tour, which will be continued by his visit to Cuba and to Nicaragua. It's a number, as we are seeing in the images, several agreements that are being signed, several memorandums of understanding, because it's in different fields, in health, in education, in oil, energy, to strengthen cooperation of peace between the nations, between both nations, for the betterment of their economy, to reactivate, to move forward, to continue its developing and its improving day by day of their strategies to face today's challenges. Something that must not be forgotten is that both nations are subject to unilateral sanctions which hamper gravely the economy of the nations and affects mainly the people, which are the main victims of this neoliberal policy implemented by the United States and its allies. The high-level delegation of both nations continues signing different agreements in different fields, something that puts in evidence the long history of friendship and cooperation that has existed between these two nations since the times of President Hugo Chavez. This is the 13th trip abroad of the Iranian president in the last 21 months. He was accompanied by the ministers of foreign affairs, of oil, defense, and health, as well as the director of presidential office and the deputy chief of staff for political affairs. We cannot forget that last year, President Nicolás Maduro visited Iran on his official tour in June last year, and this visit responds, the one we're seeing today, to that tour that President Maduro did last year. On that occasion, on that visit on June 2022, different agreements were signed, also in the agricultural area and for food production between Caracas and Tehran. In addition, as of July 18, 2022, direct flights between Caracas and Tehran were opened, with a positive impact on the growth of tourism between both nations. Both presidents signed a 20-year cooperation agreement in several areas. Likewise, regarding the critical situation of the Palestinian people, the presidents stated that the strategy is to accompany them in their struggle and denounce the crimes that are committed, as well as to maintain their voice before the United Nations system and the Security Council. The Venezuelan head of state during that visit to Iran also toured the Iranian Power Plant Management Company, the largest contractor of renewable energy plants, leader in the world market of latest generation gas turbines, whose objective is to make the energy industry more efficient. So these are all examples of the strong ties of friendship and cooperation that both nations continue to have, and after this meeting will come out even stronger. The President of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Ibrahim Raisi, arrived in Caracas, as we are seeing in the images. He's already after he met with the Venezuelan president, but he arrived early. We're just doing a recap of the day. the Iranian president arrived in the afternoon, and this is the first stop of his tour of Latin America. He has planned to travel after Venezuela to Cuba and Nicaragua. President Ibrahim Raisi arrived accompanied by the Iranian First Lady, Jamila Al-Mawloda, and a high-level delegation, which we are seeing in the images, signing important agreements of cooperation with their counterparts, with the Venezuelan counterparts. The Persian president met with his counterpart, Nicolás Maduro, and they addressed important issues on the bilateral agenda in order to strengthen cooperation in economic, political, and scientific matters. Raisi's visit to Venezuela translates into a firm brotherhood, as we have been discussing, to continue joining efforts of unity in response to the sanctions that weigh on both nations. Iran and Venezuela deepened bilateral cooperation and integration during the presidency of Hugo Chavez, and since then, everything points to a good rhythm of the close relationship they maintain until now. In fact, the most recent agreement between Iran, before the ones that we're seeing signed today, was signed also here in Venezuela, and it was in order to promote cooperation in the energy sector. The agreement provides for the development of oil and gas fields, as well as the reconstruction and renovation of Venezuelan oil refineries in order to maximize the capacity of these facilities, something that was highly likely discussed during the meeting to see how these agreements had advanced, how they were developed and being implemented. But the relationship between Iran and Venezuela goes beyond only the oil production field. They have strong cooperation in education, in health, as we saw in during the COVID-19 pandemic. That Iran was one of the countries that helped Venezuela with the supply of vaccines. Cuba was also among the countries that helped Venezuela with the supply of vaccines, putting in evidence the importance of cooperation between the peoples of the world in the face of challenges, instead of isolation, as was seen evidenced by other nations of the so-called First World. In September last year, President Maduro made important announcements in the automotive sector and in the oil sector as well, in terms of cooperation with Iran. In October 2022, both countries managed to finalize the restoration of El Palito refinery, which was an important landmark in the history of cooperation between these two countries, to bring the plant located in the municipality of Puerto Cabello in the state of Carabobo to full capacity, which was mostly abandoned due to the lack of maintenance because of the sanctions imposed against Venezuela, which prevented Venezuela from having access to the necessary equipment to maintain the facility. And thanks to the help provided by Iran at that time and that it continues to provide, that they were able to move forward with the project. The Iranian First Lady, Jamila Al-Mawloda, who also arrived in Venezuelan soil accompanying the Iranian president, she was received with honors by the sectorial Vice President for Science, Technology, Education, and Health, Gabriela Jimenez, together with officials of the National Executive. It is worth mentioning that Venezuela and Iran have important agreements in the energy, scientific, oil, defense, cultural, economic, and food sectors, agreements that are being strengthened today with the signing of new understanding between both government, between both authorities, and also between both peoples, because this meeting represents the people of both nations and their will to continue working jointly together to continue developing and improving the economy of both nations, to be able to provide a better way of life for both peoples. This is the 13th trip abroad of the Iranian president. In the last 21 months, he has had a busy agenda of international cooperation to strengthen relations between Iran and the nations of the world in the face of continuous sanctions by the West. The Iranian president is accompanied during this visit with a high-level delegation, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Minister of Oil, the Minister of Defense and Health, as well as the Director of the Presidential Office and the Deputy Chief of Staff for Political Affairs. Important images that we are seeing today here live in the screens of teleSUR. President Nicolas Maduro and President Ibrahim Raisi just finished a bilateral work agenda during a meeting here at the Miraflores Palace in the capital of Venezuela. And now they continue with the signing of numerous agreements between both nations to strengthen cooperation and the bonds of friendships. Both presidents are standing up. President Nicolas Maduro is presenting the Iranian president with a gift. With a medal showing his nation's friendship and bonds of brotherhood with Iran. Both presidents are returning to the city. It's very likely that they will offer statements now, which we will have live here on the screen of teleSUR. Let's see if we can listen. This is an important moment in the history of the relations between both nations. Let's listen to the statements of the President of Iran.
I am very pleased and grateful with His Excellency President Nicolas Maduro because of the way he has received me in the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. And I am also grateful to the very resistant, noble and beloved people of Venezuela that have resisted in the face of imperialism, cruel empire. I pay tribute before these people, and also my tribute to the heroes and founding fathers, and also all my homage and honors to the very resistant people of Venezuela and the beautiful country that it is. We have shared interest and visions. The great people of Iran and the great people of Venezuela, we look for resistance, freedom, justice. We are famous for that. And we also look for independence and justice in the world. The people of Venezuela is always side by side with the Iranian people. Both our countries look for freedom, and we have resisted in the face of the world domination system. Our both countries
tenemos un enemigo común,
have a
personas
common
y
enemy.
países que no quieren los dos países, Irán y Venezuela, sean independientes.
And many
Vivíamos
other
en
allies of his enemy that
independencia.
don't want Iran and
Nosotros
Venezuela to be
estos
independent.
años hemos mantenido esta amistad
For years, we have
con el
maintained
pueblo y
this
el gobierno de
friendship
Venezuela
with the people and the government of
y lo hemos
Venezuela.
demostrado
And we
esta
have
amistad
given
y
proof of
somos
this
amigos de
friendship.
tiempos difíciles
We
del
have been friends in
gobierno
the most difficult times.
La relación entre Irán y Venezuela
The
no es una
relationship between our two
relación
countries,
diplomática normal,
it's a normal
sino que es
diplomatic
una
relationship,
relación estratégica
and it is also a
que
strategic
los dos
relationship
países
between our two countries
que tenemos intereses comunes,
that
tenemos
have shared
visiones
interests,
comunes y tenemos enemigos comunes.
and also we share enemies and
La
visions.
cooperación entre los dos países la consideramos como una
We
cooperación
consider
profunda y estratégica.
our cooperation, our mutual cooperation, to be deep
En los
and
años
mutually
pasados hemos
beneficial.
dado buenos y significativos pasos en
We
la
have
relación
taken
entre los dos
significant
países.
steps to strengthen our
En
relations
diferentes campos, en campos
in different
económicos,
fields, in the
comerciales, campos
economy,
energéticos,
in energy,
campos de
in
servicios,
trade, in
de
goods and services,
ingeniería.
in engineering.
La voluntad de los dos países está basada en el desarrollo de la cooperación bilateral.
Both our
Hoy,
people's wills is based on the development
Irán y Venezuela
of our trade.
están decididos para
We
aumentar y
are
profundizar la relación bilateral
we
en
are
campos como
willing to
económico y
deepen our
comercial y
cooperation
energética,
in
en el
fields
campo
like
cultural
energy,
y
culture,
también en el campo de
trade,
ciencia y tecnología. Las
science, and
capacidades hay
technology.
en la República Islámica de Irán, que esas capacidades con el favor de la gracias a el triunfo
The
de la República
Islamic Republic
la
of
República
Iran
Islámica de Irán y la
has
sangre de los mártires y también la
technological
resistencia del pueblo iraní
capabilities,
el pueblo iraní ha logrado
and those technologies and capabilities have been achieved thanks to the blood shed by our martyrs and heroes. And all these capabilities have generated a lot of opportunities for our people. And of course, it is our will to share all these technology and experiences and benefits with the very resistant people of Venezuela. In our talks and negotiations with His Excellency President Nicolás Maduro have been very fruitful. Also, it has also been very fruitful, the private meeting we've held today, to increase our two nations' cooperation. Our two delegations have reaffirmed our capabilities, and despite all the efforts we've made, we have still fields to explore. Our cooperation is estimated in around $600 billion. That was our cooperation 2 years ago. Now, it has increased. Our goal is actually to take this level of cooperation to 10 and then $20 billion. In the industry, in mining, energy, science and technology. We are going to cooperate in every field possible. And let us hope the signing of these agreements we've just made is the expression, is the message of the will of both our countries to advance in the path of development and cooperation. I would like to thank His Excellency President Nicolás Maduro and the Republic of Venezuela, and I offer my tribute and my homage to Venezuela's founding father and resistant people. And I also pay tribute to General Soleimani. Thank you very much.
Han sido justamente las palabras del presidente de la República Islámica de Irán.
President. And now we will listen to the statements of President Nicolás Maduro.
Dear President of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Syed Ibrahim Raisi, dear friends of the Iranian delegation, ministers, ministers from the Bolivarian government of Venezuela. This visit marks a new milestone in a relationship that has been built from solidarity, from brotherhood, from cooperation of two peoples, of two revolutions, of two countries, born to be brothers. The Islamic Republic of Iran and the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. We're brothers, and this brotherhood has been ratified all along these years. It was our Supreme Commander, Hugo Rafael Chavez Frias, who had to give the first steps to open a new horizon in the relations between Iran and Venezuela in the 21st century. And we are loyal to his legacy, who had an early vision of the historical role that Iran and Venezuela were destined to play for the construction of a new world, for the construction of a new world order. That vision, that early vision, has been ratified and reaffirmed as years pass by. Iran is playing a paramount role as one of the most important emerging powers in the world. Its industrial development is impressive, as well as its scientific and technological development at all levels. And thus, it has become a reference for peoples who fight for independence, justice, equality, for a truly humane humanity. As a Venezuelan poem said, "Let's humanity be humane." And Venezuela, modestly but firmly, it's here after all the imperial aggressions and all the turmoil situations and after all the sanctions. Venezuela stands here, ready to make progress in the construction of a new world.
Contra Venezuela se han hecho 1000 campañas.
There have been many campaigns against Venezuela. 2 days ago,
El expresidente de los Estados
former
Unidos,
President of the United States, Donald Trump,
declaró
declared
su crimen.
his crime,
Un crimen de lesa humanidad.
a crime
contra
against
el pueblo de
humanity,
Venezuela.
against the people of Venezuela. He declared, he confessed
Que el objetivo de
that
su gobierno
the purpose of his
y de la
administration
agresión y las sanciones
and
contra
all the
Venezuela
aggressions and sanctions against
era
Venezuela
hacer colapsar
was to make
la sociedad venezolana
our society collapse,
para que el poder imperialista de
so
Estados
the
Unidos
imperialist
se apoderara
power of the
del
United
petróleo
States
venezolano,
were able to
se apoderara de las
appropriate
riquezas de
our
Venezuela.
oil and our wealth.
Diría un buen abogado,
A good
a
lawyer would
confesión
say,
de partes, relevo de prueba. Trump ha declarado su culpabilidad
Trump
en
has
crímenes de
confessed
lesa humanidad contra el noble
his
y pacífico pueblo
crime
venezolano.
against humanity against the noble and peaceful
Si
people
el
of
objetivo del
Venezuela.
imperialismo
Thus, imperialism's
apoderarse de las riquezas de nuestro
objective
pueblo,
to appropriate our people's
ellos
wealth
pensaban
and
venir a
riches,
controlar el petróleo.
they thought they could come here and control oil, being Venezuela, the country with the largest oil reserves in the world. They came to also appropriate Venezuelan gas. President Raisi, now we are certifying what is likely to be the world's fourth largest reserve of gas in the Venezuelan Caribbean. And as I told you in private, that we are going to form a powerful mining alliance because Venezuela has also certified the world's main gold reserve. This is a wealth that has historically belonged to the heroic Venezuelan people and no one else. Donald Trump was not able to defeat Venezuela, and no United States president will, because we follow Chavez's and Bolivar's ideas firmly to build a strong country with our own efforts, a new economic prosperity and a new economic model with new resources for our homeland, for our country, and from our homeland, and with our humble efforts, with Bolivar's flag and with Chavez's flag, we say to the world, Venezuela stands here to build and to help in the construction of a new world order, the new multipolar world, with no empires and no hegemony. Let empires end, and all the identities of all regions in the world must be respected. All cultures and all peoples must be respected. Iran and Venezuela share a common soul. We are spiritually united, and we are going to remain united, building this economic prosperity and stability. We have signed 25 agreements during this historical visit of President Raisi, and there are still negotiations being carried out, new negotiations for new investment. We need to make the most of this opportunity, ministers, to finish negotiations for new projects and new agreements and new investments in every area of oil, petrochemicals, refinery, gas, mining, gold, iron, bauxite. We are signing an agreement to found ports, since our country our countries, as President Raisi said, our trade is likely to increase in 10 and $20 billion. There are many opportunities in the future for our trade, for our agriculture. Venezuelan producers, together with the export offered, there are a lot of opportunities for producers of both our countries to do business, since we are recovering our industry in a new productive stage with Iran tractors to produce vehicles for the national and international markets, to produce tractors. How many possibilities we have? We have flights Caracas-Tehran, and we have the goal of increasing flights between our two capitals. Let's hope that the day will come in which we have a daily flight between our two capitals, and so we can increase tourism, so we can increase Iranian tourism in Venezuela and Venezuelan tourism in Iran, so they can be able to know about the ancient Persian culture. Those are some of the things we have talked, we have signed, we have discussed a lot of issues. We have offered support to the Iranian president in order to build a very powerful cooperation in science and technology. We're working together. Venezuela inaugurated the first scientific and technological park, taking the one we saw in Tehran as an example. We visited those facilities, and we, with the help of Iran, we would like to inaugurate such facilities in every state of our country. So, technological and scientific cooperation is vital, and Iran has made an impressive leap. Iran is one of the world's new technological and scientific powers, based on their historical legacy, based on the development of knowledge, based on their own effort. It's admirable, the development they have achieved with their own efforts. We have signed important agreements in health, so our countries continue building common effort and offering joint answers in coming health challenges. We have also signed important agreements around culture, so both our cultures can come closer every day. And the different manifestations, like visual arts, literature, and so the beauty of both our cultures can come together, and both our cultural worlds can meet. Mr. President, with this visit, we are more optimistic than ever that we're making history. We are on the right path, and a new world will continue to emerge from the common efforts of our countries towards the historical vision of our leaders. We are on the right side of history, Iran and Venezuela, and together we will be invincible. Thank you very much, President Raisi.
Señoras y señores, por su amable asistencia y atención.
We were watching live images of the signing of bilateral agreements between Iran and Venezuela, and we also heard the statements of both President Raisi and President Maduro following a high-level meeting. President Raisi said Iran stands together with Venezuela in the face of all the forces that hinders their nation's development. The Iranian president reaffirmed the friendship that exists ever stronger between Venezuela and Iran. The Persian head of state described Venezuelan and Iranian relations beneficial and true, adding the will to deepen cooperation even more in different fields. For his part, President Nicolás Maduro said Iran's and Venezuela's brotherhood has been ratified throughout the years since President Hugo Chavez took the first steps in Iran-Venezuelan relations. President Maduro added that Venezuela and Iran are important actors for the development of a new multipolar world. Nicolás Maduro stated that all aggression against Venezuela could not prevent the South American nation to stand ready for the creation of a new world. President Maduro referred to the recent statement by former U.S. President Donald Trump, where Trump confessed his crimes against the Venezuelan people by saying that all the sanctions imposed were to make Venezuelan society crumble and plunder its natural resources. Maduro affirmed that neither Trump or any other U.S. president will defeat Venezuela because Venezuela will always stand strong with Chavez and Bolivar's ideal to build the new world order of multipolarity. Maduro added that they signed 25 agreements during this historical visit and further said there are still negotiations in many other investment opportunities. President Maduro reported that trade between both nations would likely increase between $10 to $20 million. The Venezuelan head of state said they are planning to increase the number of direct flights between both capitals. Venezuelan head of state also detailed important agreements signed in the technological, health, cultural fields to create stronger bonds between both nations. We have come like this with these final statements of the Venezuelan head of state and the Iranian head of state. We have come to the end of this news brief. Remember, you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And you can also join us on social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. Stay tuned with TeleSUR English. I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.